My name's Justin, and I am camping in the middle of winter in the wilderness of Alaska. I'm gonna snowshoe into the forest to find a cool spot to set up a camp, build a shelter, get a fire going. Smoke! Oh, no! My sausages. See if we can get a grouse for dinner. What else we got here? Let me get some butter in there. There's even more snow on the horizon tonight, so this should be an interesting camp. It's like coyote tracks here. I don't know if you'll be able to see. They don't look quite big enough to be a wolf, but probably a coyote. Gonna be making some good food tonight, so hopefully we don't have any entitled visitors. All right, so I'm gonna show you why snowshoes are so awesome. So here's my trekking pole down to the ground. So you can see how deep the snow is here. I don't know, maybe 30 inches, something like that. And with the crust on top and these snowshoes, I'm sinking in maybe an inch, inch and a half. And I'm not exactly a light dude, so this makes this walk 100 times easier. So there's a body of water out here somewhere. We've had some warm spells recently. That's why there's a crust of ice here, because it rained not too long ago. And I don't know how thick the ice is or how deep the water is. And that's the last thing I want to do is fall in. So I'm going to play it a little safe here. The trees are small in this area because it's marshy. So just a marshland in the summertime. So they don't grow very tall. And the snow's so deep that it covers some of them up and you can't see them. And it creates a little hollow pocket inside. And my snowshoes, every once in a while, if I come across one, will punch down through. I've already biffed it once, so you can see there how small these trees are. All right, so that looks like wolf tracks. It's not a moose, and it's definitely too big to be a coyote. I got a wolf story to share with you later, a buddy of mine. Kind of crazy. And there we've got moose tracks as well. Could be a wolf following moose, who knows? So these cubbies right here are a good spot to find grouse in the wintertime. And we are going to try our luck again to get a grouse this trip. I brought a secret weapon this time. Should increase my odds. Uh-oh, snowshoe came off. There we go. Got some snowshoe hair tracks there. I don't know if the camera's gonna pick it up. Plenty of animals in the area. More moose tracks, those are pretty old. I think this might work. I think I'm gonna put my shelter right in here. So you notice Jenny isn't here, unfortunately, today. She's getting sick, but she wanted me to let you guys know that she wishes she could be here. So she's here in spirit. Time to dig. Well, that gives you a little bit of idea how deep the snow is here. It's a few inches above my knees. I think the first thing to do is get this thing covered up so I can get some stuff out of the snow because everything's starting to get wet. So I've been using this Silky saw for a number of years. You've seen it in several of our videos, and these things are awesome. And I do want to give a special thank you to Silky because they have sent me their Silky Big Boy, which is 360 millimeters, so I can cut a lot bigger wood at this thing. And that's just awesome. So thank you, Silky. I'll leave a link to these in the description if you guys want to take a look at them. Those bindings are pretty cool, but man, they're a pain in the butt to put on. Lid started freezing shut. All right, next step is to delimb these trees so we can get some shelter over this trench. Oh, jeez. I'd be wearing the snowshoes if they weren't so cumbersome. It's hard to turn around on those things. They're kind of long. Every time I do this, it reminds me just how out of shape I am. Whew. Water's starting to freeze up a little bit here. This is a Free Soldier 13 foot by 13 foot tarp. These things are like just under 50 bucks on Amazon. Super awesome. You don't have to spend $200 on a tarp. We've put this thing through the gamut of snow and torrential downpour and everything in between, and it just keeps on going. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check them out. My face is getting a little cold. I don't know if you can tell by my speech. So if it sounds like I'm slurring my speech a little bit, my mouth is cold. My glove liners, they are frozen solid. I'm going to tie these out. What I've did here is I've taken a piece of stick and tied a line around it. It's called a dead man anchor. You just bury this in the snow and you use that as a stake essentially. Well, there's what we've got so far. It's a little bit sloppy and lopsided, but I am not done yet. When I am done, it'll be complete and sloppy and lopsided. So we're part of the way there. At least we can keep some snow off the stuff. And now I got to dig a hole out so we can get a fire going so I can warm my hands up. They're getting numb. My face is numb, and it's cold. It's very cold. Time to get warm. Got some jute twine here. See if this works. This stuff's pretty wet. It's probably gonna take a bit. That is nice. That is real nice. All right, I'm gonna get this thing built up, and I gotta keep it going for quite a while because we need a lot of coals for dinner. Because we got something real fancy coming up for dinner tonight. How much steam is coming from my legs. That is a hot fire. See if I can get the old liners dried out, or at least unfrozen. Well, I've let the fire die down, and I think now is a better time than ever to go out and see if we can get a grouse. If you followed our channel for a while, you know there is no secret that I am on a bad losing streak with grouse. So I got a secret weapon I'm gonna show y'all, and hopefully this will increase my odds significantly. Huh? Look at that. But boom. Yeah, buddy. If you watched the video where I give this a shot, you just got to put your fingers together like this, put your mouth up to that spot, and you go, "Hey, grouse." Didn't hear any return call. It didn't work, but this is going to become my lucky grouse shirt today. All right, let's get out there and see what we can't get. And by can't, I mean can. Okay. I did bring something very fancy for dinner, so if I don't get a grouse, is what it is. If I do get a grouse, it'll probably be dessert after the big dinner. So I've got a Ruger 1022 here, and the moisture has frozen a round in the chamber, and it's not ejecting. So there we go, just like that. Time to go get a grouse. So believe it or not, contrary to what you guys have seen on this channel, I have harvested a lot of grouse in my lifetime, but admittedly, I've never hunted them in the wintertime. So I don't know if this is just not optimal time to hunt them or what, but I'm dead set on getting one in the wintertime now. Because when I do fail, it makes me want to do it even more. By what I understand, in the wintertime, they will roost in the snow or get down to kind of burrow at the bottoms of the trees, like that right there, where there's kind of a cubby underneath. But I'm keeping my eyes up in the trees like you would in the fall time too. Maybe I'll see one roosted up there, who knows. So another thing I'm doing is keeping an eye out for tracks. However, it's been snowing all day, so whatever there was might have been covered up. But you can see out here, nothing at all. A little bit of a, I don't know if it's a little moose or a coyote or something over there, but old. I tell you what, snowshoes are a lifesaver out here. This would not be fun without snowshoes. Well, nothing so far. I'm seeing some snowshoe hair track, but I don't think I'm gonna take one, even if I do come across one. Gonna save that for later for fire starting. Put that in my pocket so it stays nice and dry. Man, it's not looking good. Imagine that. Well, the shirt failed. It's not my lucky shirt yet. I just got to get one grouse while I'm wearing it, and then it's instantly the lucky shirt, though. That's how it works. It's not over yet, though. I got about 1.5 miles to walk back to camp, so maybe we'll come across one. With this snow this deep, they're probably hunkered down hard, and I'd probably have to be like down in a hole to flush one out. So I think I'm gonna call it another defeat, make my way back to camp. Got some firewood together and something real tasty coming up. Getting excited. That is a nice big dead stander right there. I'm taking that one. Gonna have to cut it up into a few pieces to get it back though. That was easy. Well, I have not eaten since I left, so it's time to put some calories in me. Got some Alaska hunter stick with reindeer meat in it. Oh, partially frozen, of course. Oh. So those snowshoes you see me using, the traditional type with the wood and hide, it's from a company called Snowcraft. They're actually no longer in business. These were made for the US Army for World War II and the Korean War, and they made tens of thousands of them for the Army. Kind of pretty cool history. They're like 53 or 56 inches long, so pretty big, got a lot of float to them. For flat terrain, these are awesome. So it's definitely colder than the forecast called for. Take a look at this. Sat my beanie down after I'd taken it off, and it's a little bit crispy. Got some almond butter dates. There's 3 dates in there. Same amount of dates that Jenny and I went on before we got married. That's totally a joke. That's actually a joke, okay? It was 4. There's a lot of floaties in there. That's all right though. Fiber. I'm gonna go ahead and stick this in my jacket for now. Warm me up because it is getting cold. It's not that cold, I guess. 19 degrees Fahrenheit. That bottle, that'll lift your spirits real quick. All right, so we've had a couple requests for steak. I'll go ahead and put them up right there. I'm in the mood for a steak. So I've got a New York strip here. We're gonna cook that up and then do a pan sauce. And with that, I'm gonna do some jalapeno cheddar barley risotto from Alaska Flour Company. Really good stuff. That's gonna be a fantastic grade A meal. Vegetable oil is frozen solid, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick that close to the fire and get it warming up. Actually, better yet, I'm gonna go ahead and put this oil in this hot water that I had boiling earlier. Let it warm up that way. It should be a lot quicker. Oh yeah, look at that. Got some kosher salt here. I'm gonna season this generously. A little bit of pepper here that I cracked last night. A lot of pepper. Well, this butter's pretty frozen solid actually, so I'm gonna go ahead and stick it next to the fire here. Let it warm up and soften a little bit. Oil's starting to get hot. You know what time it is. Get it on. Yee! While that's going, got some shallots and garlic here. Oh, come on. I tell you what, everything is a little more difficult when you're out here on your knees in the snow trying to do this stuff. Everything's slippery, sliding off all over the place. I know some people make it look like it's just a breeze in the park, but it adds challenges. The rosemary. Oh man, that smells good. Holy cow. I'm gonna take that thing off, let it rest. I'll rest for next to the fire there for a while we do the pan sauce. So if you see all that brown stuff down there in the bottom of the pan, that's called fond, and there's a lot of flavor in that. That's what we're gonna turn into our pan sauce. In with some shallots. That steam from the shallots starts releasing that fond. In with the garlic. Got some red cooking wine. All right, I've got a couple tablespoons of butter here. I'm gonna put in that jalapeno cheddar barley risotto and I'll get that stewing. All right, next in our pan sauce, we've got beef broth. You didn't think I was gonna put cheese dip in there, did you? Let that simmer and reduce. In with a little thyme. In with a little I'll put it on the screen with this as I forget the name of it. Just a splash. In with some mushrooms. A little hard to see with the steam. You'll just have to take my word for it. It looks delish. So we've had a few questions about whether we are worried about going out in the woods like this in terms of wildlife and what could happen there. And really in the wintertime, bears are for the most part hibernating. They can and do get out of hibernation and roam about, but it's pretty uncommon. Not something I really need to worry about. Wolves and coyotes, though, they could be potentially an issue. I have a buddy in Fairbanks that was moose hunting a few years ago, and they ended up getting a moose, and they had quartered it up, and they had it hanging in camp there. They had to boat in like 30 miles to where they were at, and a pack of wolves came in and were starting to try to get at the meat, and they were getting aggressive, and they ended up having to shoot 2 of them. Actually, they put 2 of them down, and the pack scurried off. The crazy part is the next day, the remaining pack came back, and they actually were around camp, like had surrounded camp and were making noise, and one of them was aggressive and ended up coming in and grabbing their cooler and pulling it like 30 feet away. But for that to happen and for them to leave and then end up coming back and surrounding camp that's a thing of nightmares. So those are the little things that make me worried sometimes. But if it does happen and a wolf pack comes into a camp here, I am prepared, and let's just hope that doesn't end up happening. All right, the risotto is done. Stick that aside to stay warm. Got some minced up shallots there. Oh man, here we go. Barley risotto. On with our pan sauce with mushrooms. Look at that. Oh, this is going to be ridiculously good. Let's do a cut test, see how the steak turned out. Medium rare. Perfection. Man, warm food while camping really lifts the spirit real quick. That is eating in luxury when you're out here in the woods. Time to sift through some of the debris. The debris in there is really harmless anyways. The thing's boiled, and this is just pieces of bark and spruce needles and things like that. Time to start setting up bedding. Well, I'm trying to boil water for the Nalgene to put in my sleeping bag, and coals aren't hot enough anymore, so splitting a little wood here to get some flame going. All right, there we go. Boiling water in an Nalgene. That should last about 4.5, 5 hours and keep me warm. Put this in the old sleeping bag. Well, before I go to bed, I got this Overstrike guard here off Etsy. I'm gonna put this thing on. there we are. Leather overstrike. That way if I miss a piece of wood, it hits that and it protects the handle and absorbs a little bit of shock from my hands too. That's nice. All right, guys, we'll see you in the morning. Good morning. It is currently 10:37 a.m. That's right. I'm an adult. Adult that likes to sleep in. It is cold outside. I woke up multiple times throughout the night as the snow would fall in sheets off of the side of this tarp. We've got sourdough, pancakes, eggs, and sausage coming up, and that's my motivation. In a little bit. Oh, jeez. Wow. There's my jacket. Can't wait to put these on. My favorite part of the morning, putting on ice cold clothes. There is nothing more against the grain feeling than waking up and putting on ice cold, frozen like a block clothing straight out of a warm sleeping bag. It's exhilarating. Oh. Where's the foothole? There it is. Oh gosh, throw right against the skin. Oh mama, that's cold. Time to start the day. Well, before I make breakfast, I'm going to get my blood pumping by putting this sleeping bag back in its case. Always gets the heart rate up. Emergency uh-oh paper. So I'm going to try to use that birch bark and sticks that I got yesterday, see if I can get it started with just that. So we make a lot of sourdough bread at home. We've kind of been experimenting with different things, and I don't know how well today's sourdough pancakes are gonna work because the starter that I brought with me is frozen solid. Who would have thought? Maybe it won't work at all, but it smells good, even frozen, so there's that. Stick this down here by the fire, get some warmth. This is gonna happen. There we go. All right, I've got some butter I gotta get melted. In this bag, we've got flour, sugar, baking soda, baking powder, and salt mixed together. I'm gonna add some milk, egg, oh, my eyes. Oh. And it's gonna be the best pancakes I have ever had at this location that I've never been to. Our sourdough starter is got back down to its normal consistency. And I'm gonna add about a half a cup of milk. Shamrock milk. All I gotta say is wow. Half a cup. I don't got no measuring stuff out here, so we're just flying by the seat of our pants, as Jenny would say. What else we got here? Let me get some butter in there. 2 tablespoons of Nature's Finest butter. Half a cup of that lovely sourdough starter we got from home. Smoke! Taste the pancake.
Taste the biscuit.
Yes, I like the way it tastes with my sausage sticks. Speaking of which, I forgot to bring any sort of syrup or anything for these pancakes, so they're just gonna be buttered pancakes. Oh, no! My sausages! And with some sausage. And for you, Gary Busey, butter. We're gonna butter our sausages.
Let's talk about buttered sausage.
Oh, I dropped the... All right, there it is. Sourdough pancake and sausage. That's not good. These things at home are like better than IHOP. And it's got a hint of steak sauce taste from yesterday too, so. That was actually really delicious. Well, this shelter worked out pretty good, actually. Not too bad. Tall, really tall. I mean, I'm 6'2" and I can barely touch the top there. Obviously, if we had a heat source in here, all the heat would be up there, but we don't. So my main purpose was wanting to have the snow shed, which I did a really good job of. Lots of room. Well, I'd consider that a successful trip. Thank you guys for watching. If you like this video, let me know by hitting the like button below. And if you like this kind of content, consider subscribing because we do a lot of camping in Alaska. Thanks for watching.